she would say the lived experience as a black person of racism is different, for example, from the racism that somebody like me who's a Jew would have experienced. Now, most people would say you should never say that there's a hierarchy of racism. And that the implication of what she said is that there's a hierarchy. I'm sure she would deny that that's what she meant, but that's what came across, and that's why the Labour Party has suspended her again.
I mean, maybe I'm being unfair here, but just watching that and seeing Robert Peston, I don't think that throughout his career, he will have been particularly read as anything other than a white guy in the media, right? One of the most powerful journalists in the country saying, essentially, how dare Diane Abbott, the most abused politician in the country, say that the racism she's experienced is different from the racism I've experienced. Like, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's received lots of, credible death threats because of his Jewish background. Clearly, there's a lot of violent racism in his family history. I think he's got ancestors or relatives who died in the Holocaust, right? But the idea that his life experience and Diane Abbott's life experience can be sort of meaningfully compared and say that their experience of racism is basically the same. When to most people walking down the street, Robert Peston is a white guy, right? A white guy in a very dominant position in the media. Like, I just don't think his experience of racism will be remotely similar to Diane Abbott. So to sort of do all this hand-wringing, most people will think it's outrageous that Diane Abbott has suggested that her experience of racism might be different from my experience of racism, me, Robert Peston. I really think most people watching that will think, Robert Peston experiences racism, really?